Default policy-based routing or PBR. In this video, I'm going to talk about a special type of PBR. We call it default policy-based routing or default PBR. First, I want to review the PBR, normal PBR. After that, we can talk about the default PBR to have better understanding the concept. Look at here. We have the normal PBR. You know that normal PBR, okay, can be configured with this command. We should first configure a route map, and then map name, okay. For example, permit, then sequence number. After that, router config route map, okay. You know that I can use match IP address, ACL match IP address, and then ACL number or ACL name, again router config route map. Also, I can use match length and then using the minimum or maximum. These are two match conditions that we can use in the normal PBR. Also, we have two options for the, for example, set condition or set clause. The first is set interface, then outgoing interface, for example. And the next set rules is set IP next hop and then next hop IP address. That's it. These are the commands that we can use in the normal PBR, and also you know how we can apply this policy to one interface, IP policy roadmap name. This is the normal PBR, but you can configure another type of PBR. We call it default PBR. Let me to show you how first we can configure the default PBR. Look at here. Default PBR is so similar in configuration to the PBR. Default PBR. Again, we should configure a route map. Again, we can use match IP address ACL and also match length minimum and maximum. But we have a little difference in the set conditions. We can use this command, set default interface, and also set IP default next hop. Two default words now are added to the set conditions, set default interface and set IP default next hop. Okay, now the question is that what is the difference between the, for example, set interface and set default interface? And also, what is the difference between the set IP next hop and set IP default next hop? Okay, and if you want to apply default PBR to one interface, the command is same as applying the normal PBR. The only difference is that in the set condition, set interface, set default interface, set IP next hop, set IP default next hop. Let me to talk about what is the difference between these two set conditions or set clause. First, we should start with the PBR. You know that if you configure a PBR, the process of the packets, and if we want to follow the packet, we have these steps. First, the packet should be checked with the policy. Okay, if the policy can match the packet, then the packet should be policy based routed. You know it, okay? Should be policy based routed or PBR. Then if the policy doesn't match the packet, then the packet should be sent to the routing table. And after that, first, if the packet matches with the route in the routing table, the packet can be normal forwarded, okay? Normal forwarding. Or if the packet doesn't match with any route in the routing table, okay, the packet should be discarded. Or if in the routing table we have, for example, default route, the packet can be default routed. But for now, I use the discard. Okay, this is the process that should be done with the PBR. But what is the process of the, for example, default PBR? Default PBR with the set default interface, and also set IP default next up. When you are using the default keyword in the set clause, the process is reverse. What does this mean? Look at here. First, the packet should be checked with the policy, with the roadmap, with the routing table. Look at here. First, the packet should be checked with the routing table. If a router finds a match in the routing table, the packet should be normal forwarded. Okay, but if the packet doesn't match in the routing table, the packet should be checked with a policy. Okay, if the policy has rules about this packet, the packet should be policy base routed. Okay, and if not, the packet should send to the default route. Okay, let me to review. First, the packet should be checked with the routing table except default route. Routing table without the default route. Okay, and this means that only a specific route should match the traffic except default route. Okay, first packet should be checked with the routing table for finding a specific match. If the specific match is available, the packet should be normal forwarded. But if we don't have a specific match, the packet should be sent to the policy, and if the policy's rule can match the traffic, the packet should be policy base routed, and if not, the packet should be default routed. This is the difference between the default PBR and the PBR. What is the usage of the default PBR? Assume that, for example, you have some traffic that this traffic should be default routed. Okay, for example, in this scenario, we have my company, Arash company. This is my company, and my company connected to two ISP, ISP1 and ISP2. Okay, and here is the internet, ISP1, ISP2. Now we have another ISP, ISP3 that is connected to the, for example, internet. Assume that I want to send some of my traffic from the ISP1 to the internet and some others from the ISP2 to the internet. Okay, how we can select the desired traffic that I'm going to send from the ISP1 and ISP2. One of the methods is using the PBR. PBR is a good method. Why? For example, you can use the default PBR, and with the default PBR, only the traffic that is not matched with the routing table of R1 should be selected. The packets now reach to R1, okay, and in R1 only we have default route, and the packets should be default routed. And now I can use the default PBR. In default PBR, you know that by default the packets should be checked with the routing table. Because the packet should be default routed, after that I can configure the policy, and with that policy I can classify the traffics and sending some of them on the, for example, serial 10, and some of them from the serial 11 to ISP1 and ISP2. Okay, one of its usage, but maybe you find another usage in your company. In this scenario, I'm going to talk about the concept of the default PBR and configuring one example. Maybe you find many more examples or many better usage for the default PBR. Very good. Let me first to configure the scenario, and after that we can talk about the detail of the, for example, default PBR configuration. Here we should configure first the connectivity of this scenario. This is a practice for us. First we should start from the R1. In R1 we have three interfaces, enconfd, the host name is R1, and also we have the ETH10 interface. Okay, ETH01, and then the IP address of this interface is 10.101.255.255.255.0, and after that no shutdown. And also we have two other interfaces, serial 10 and serial 11, 1 and 2. Okay, serial 10, serial 11. Then we should address the interfaces of the serial 10 and 11. Serial 10's IP address is 10.1. For example, this is router 2 and this is router 3. Okay, rotor 2, rotor 3. Let me to show you